It's Monday and time for the Back to Business podcast, featuring Calgary's industry leaders. Welcome today's show host, Kim Hayden.
Few organizations have shaped Calgary's spirit like the Calgary Flames, not just on the ice, but in the community. Behind the impact of the Calgary Flames Foundation is Candice Goudie. As the executive director, Candice leads one of the most active sports charitable foundations in Canada, leading fan passion to community engagement. And we're excited to sit down and find out how she does this, why she does this, and how we can all support her in the success of the Calgary Flames Foundation. But first, our land acknowledgement. We here at the Calgary Petroleum Club, in the spirit of reconciliation, honor and acknowledge that the land on which we learn, work, and live is Treaty 7 region of Southern Alberta. This place is the traditional homeland for the First Nations and Métis peoples, and today we all are part of this treaty land. Alrighty, Candice, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
You have done lots of camera time. I had quite the journey kind of researching and getting to know you, and you have energy, like lots of good energy. Like you always had a laugh and a smile. Every interview I saw, I was like, I knew I was going to be in for a good time.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm just happy to be here. So,
So this energy, though, is kind of infectious. It's gone through all of your decades of working with the Calgary Flames and building from 2 programs to multiple programs and all those community reaches. Let's talk about the Flames Foundation and leading the community investment. Take us back to the beginning, because I know, folks, if you're watching this on camera, you're going to say, there's no way she's done 2 decades. But,
thank you.
But you have, and take us back to those first initial 2 clubs and how you've grown the CSEC.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. This is my 20th season with the Calgary Flames and CSEC, so the Calgary Sports Entertainment Corporation. And when I started, I was quite young. I was right out of university. And, I am a Calgarian. I am from Calgary. I grew up loving hockey. Admittedly, I loved the Los Angeles Kings, but I grew up when Gretzky was playing for the Kings. But then I loved the Flames, and working for the Flames was a dream of mine. And in university, in the sport management program, David Lake's program, we did a project where we had to present a concept for revenue growth or ticketing for the Hitman. And we did a presentation, and their leadership team, had approached me after about an opportunity they had open. So I started with the Flames in the start of 2007 and finished what was my college applied degree at night, which was very hard when you were working game nights. But yeah, I was so excited to be there and be a part of entertainment and sports. And at that time, we owned the Calgary Hitmen and the Calgary Flames. Now we own 5 teams. And it was great. Working in sports it's unique. And it's energy, and it's evenings, and it's entertainment. And then you mix in a little bit of sports. So yeah, it's 20 years later. There's so much that's the same and so much that's very different. But it's been a wild ride.
And you've been growing with the times. I actually want to tap into something. So you did a capstone project at school that garnered. Okay. So was that an option? Did you agree to do that, or was that part of the curriculum? Because I just want to touch on this, because that is taking the initiative that led to a 20-year journey. And I think that young people need to hear that, seeking out. Can you give us just a little bit more on that background?
Yeah, so it was actually part of our curriculum. So we had, David Lake, who's at MRU still, was very good at trying to connect his students with the industries that they were interested in. So we had an option to put together, there was a few options. You could pick 3 different companies, and the Calgary Flames / Hitmen were one of them. And it was a group project. So you did a group project and came up with a strategy for the Hitmen. And it did. It introduced me to the leadership team there in a very brief introduction. It's not like we spent a great deal of time.
But you made an impression.
Yeah, Ken King was there, 2 VPs, and, they had a very junior role open, and, I was fortunate enough to have met with them and then to get that, and, I started as a marketing coordinator, and we were small. There was 3 people in our marketing department in 2007, and now there's, like, I don't know, 30, and it was versatile work. You did a little bit
Amazing.
of everything for everyone, and some of the things I started doing, I still do, uh, or in my portfolio, actually a lot of the things. But yeah, it's a very unique sector. Yeah.
I think that's so cool. I just wanted to really stress that, putting your all in
Mm.
and then showing up. I think that's the biggest challenge people have today is showing up.
Yeah, and even when I interview people, but when I started, I would do anything, like anything. I put my hand up for everything. I worked extraordinarily hard. I worked nights and weekends and anyway, but I loved it and I wanted to be um relevant and accomplished, and there were different you start in an organization, and especially in sports,
Yeah,
you either work in marketing or sales, and that's the only functions that you see from the outside, and when I got into it, it was just as small as we were in 2007, there's so many different business units and purposes, and it was really interesting. I think that's the same for any organization, right? It's
absolutely.
always you never know how much goes into something, but it was a real eye opener. And yeah, I had tremendous support, my post-secondary pursuits, and it did lead me to CSEC, and I'm lucky because that's where I wanted to be.
That and that is so refreshing to hear a homegrown root like that true roots, right?
Yeah.
Creating that foundation. Um, and then when we look at what you're doing now through the Flames Foundation, right? So when we talk about those crossroads of sports, community, and business, with your experience, what makes the Flames Foundation model so unique and effective in creating the impact it does?
The Flames Foundation, I mean, I'm so lucky to be in this chair and that chair. Uh, but the work of the Flames Foundation, it is cross-sectional when you look at those 3 areas, and it is kind of because the work we do is very broad. It's very broad, and, when you look at our ownership group for our team and for our organization, the Calgary Flames, I hope and think, are really well known for giving back to the community, and
Yes.
our ownership group leads that. So they are philanthropists, they are community leaders, they are accomplished businessmen. And when you look at how the Flames and CSEC, but mostly the Flames and the Flames Foundation, how they operate day to day, what they're doing, you can see that the ownership group made sure that community giving was a part of it. So a lot of our community investment activities, which is so important to business, live in the Flames Foundation. I would look after our community investment activities that live outside of the foundation when it comes to what the Calgary Flames are doing in the community. And, we do it for all the right reasons, right? We've got 2 goals at the Calgary Flames, and one is to win a Stanley Cup, and one is to improve the lives of Southern Albertans. And obviously, the Stanley Cup is the most important, but if you asked our owners, they would say they go hand in hand. And we are acutely aware that the funds that we have the privilege of managing are a result of our fans. So when it comes to the intersections, we're trying to act strategically, but we also want to make sure that we are acting on behalf of the people that support us, whether that's donors or individuals or the business community that support us so intently and intensively. We want to make sure that the work that we're doing is something that our business partners and fans would be very proud of.
And so much of it is legacy work, meaning that it makes a moment in a fan's life, in a business partner's life, in a charitable recipient's life. That moment, which you may go on to do another 100 things, but that moment is a legacy moment for that individual. I love how you're so impassioned with and that this is coming through.
Mm-hmm.
about Southern Alberta, about Calgary, about Canada. And I think that there is no greater time since I moved to this country in 94 than I've seen this need for those of us to kind of speak up a little louder
Mm-hmm.
and step in a little bit more and really create this drive to build better.
Yeah. Yes. And we have visionary leaders. And when it comes to, we're again lucky that this is a charity for a professional sports team. And we know that it's our job, our responsibility to motivate, educate, and inspire because in our mandate for our organization, we have creating memories and being a heartbeat of the community. And we're lucky that people feel so passionately about the Calgary Flames, and we have an inherent responsibility to make this community better because we're here. And we feel that deeply at all levels in our organization. And whether that's the work we're doing in inclusion or, the Flames Foundation distributed over $6.6 million last year, we're trying to build programs that leave a lasting legacy and impact while at the same time providing critical funds to charities that need us at the right time. And we try and do those things coherently and cohesively so that we can do them both. We're giving out money and, you know, a charity, we have so many. I just love Calgary. And Calgary, just the generosity of the city and the sheer number of charities that operate to make community better. There's so many of them. And we want to help charities do that work. We also want to build and support programs that are ours that are leaving a lasting legacy and impact. And yeah, it's
So, beyond the amazing individuals like our show producer here,
Mhm.
Jackson, who is a decade-long pass holder for the Flames,
Mhm.
what does
Love that,
collaborate? I know Jackson. Jackson gets woo woo.
Yeah.
What does collaboration look like across CSEC for the partners and the community? How do people get involved to support the work you're doing?
Yeah, we have a strong but mighty team. The foundation has, thanks to the Calgary Flames, we don't pay rent, we don't pay for lights, we don't, half the time we don't pay for our computers. They're extremely supportive. So we have a small and mighty team, and we have a lot of volunteers who help fundraise for us. And good examples of that um, would be the Flames Charity Golf Classic presented by Scotiabank and the Flames Ambassador Celebrity Charity Poker Tournament. And those two events are specifically, we have lots other, but these two are the biggest, driven by volunteers. So, Steve Major, I know he's a member here. Him and Dave Lush created, along with Rolly Steer, the Flames Poker Tournament. And last year, that event netted $600,000. And
Wow.
yeah, it was our biggest one. It's generated more than $7 million since inception. And we have 450 people come out and play poker and are extremely generous with their time and funds, but that's driven by volunteers and business community volunteers. So we are looking for people who can help raise funds through that event by becoming a partner. So we've got business leaders on both of those committees that really lean into their networks to try and get people to support the event, to be at the event, to donate items to the events. And it's a very successful model. It's, we don't have a lot of paid people. Steve certainly is doing the work of a paid person, but for sure. But we have a whole committee for those two events that are working like they
Yeah, it
might
takes
as well be employees
It's
that are
like
working
6 to
so
12
hard.
months just to put on one singular event, and
For
I
sure.
think a lot of people that haven't been in that space don't understand, like, the systems and the processes and the literally the mechanics of even just getting a permit or approval for something, and it's just, like, it takes time.
It does.
Um, you know, Now you've seen firsthand how sports can unite a city.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of professional teams such as the Flames? What is their role within building the city, building the community stronger?
Yeah, I have so much to say about this, but I strongly believe and have seen that sports teams are a fabric of a community. And whether you're talking about success on the ice or the field or the turf, we just watched what the Blue Jays did for a whole country. Sports truly bring people together. And whether, we are always a moment in time for a person. And when the hockey season starts, people go back, an older person would go back to watching Hockey Night in Canada on their couch with their dad. A younger person would remember that that's the time they got the most TV time. You would remember watching that with your mom or dad. You would remember when a hockey player flipped you a puck in warm up. You would remember that reading Give It a Shot, which is our literacy program. You would read 100 minutes and get trading cards, and that motivates, you know, boys in a elementary school, specifically boys, by 86%. Females is lower, but still everybody has a different connection to a sport, specifically hockey, and they become core memories. It becomes part of your family unit, and it's extremely important. And then you see, most commonly around success, but you see this galvanization that happens, and people who they're not interested in sports or the sport come together as a community. And it really does. It creates moments and memories and community, and it talks to everyone. So, it doesn't necessarily even matter if you care that much about hockey. And we know that some of the people that come to our building on a regular basis don't. And that's okay, because it's a community and we want to make sure that we're welcoming people, whether you're at the Saddle Dome or you're not. And it also, hockey really, and I've seen this so much through my work, but it's respite and relief for a lot of people. And whether
Yes.
that's relief and respite from a stressful day to an illness to a loss, we see people who look to us on a very regular basis for relief. And it's a distraction, it's a moment in time, it's a hobby for some, and that might be the most critical part. And we see that from families going through the hardest times in their lives, and they look to us for some relief and respite, to just young people looking to gather. And it's a beautiful intersection.
And I know that you work with lots of different programs.
Mm.
What is it? I want to say it was like through NMAX or something. There's a Calgary kids, like, so if they get extra tickets, then they help kids who are underserved or in special needs be able to go. And I remember going to a um, Hitmen's game, middle of the afternoon one day, with a group from a special needs school that had gotten the tickets gifted to them
Yeah.
by a company. So, and this is what I found fascinating learning, was that the company supports with buying season passes, but when they can't go, they turn those extra tickets over to another organization that then can support people who don't have the same opportunities of going. Um, let's talk about, how some of this, what helps, like, I guess the foundation
Mhm.
champions, like, what brings it together in that entire ethos. I thought that was very fascinating, how one company stepping up and supporting literally spun out to an opportunity that these 6 children and their
Mhm.
parent would not have had otherwise.
Yeah, that is a partnership with Kids Up Front.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Folks, not bad though. I'm on Tylenol Cold Plus today, so I'm not the sharpest tack in the box. But yes, I thought that was, and it was a box seat. Like, it was such a cool experience. And
Mhm.
I was there because I volunteered at a school for special needs children, and I taught cooking because it's the one thing I can do. I can cook.
Ooh.
And so I got to go and to watch the absolute joy
Mhm.
and then they felt like heroes because their parent got to come with them.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
talk to us about that.
And there's a lot of dignity around that, right? Where you don't know necessarily where those tickets came from, or same with our financial assistance programs, right? We're giving dignity to parents very often. And yeah, those are ticket donations. We work with Kids Up Front. Kids Up Front works with hundreds of charities in a lot of different areas. And getting to go to Flames games or Hitman games or Wranglers games or concerts, that is an experience, and we try and make sure that at the Saddle Dome we're delivering that on a very regular basis, no matter which team. And it does. It provides kids with an opportunity that they might not ever have again or before. It's not inexpensive, it doesn't really matter really the team, but obviously we know that to see an NHL game is can be very difficult. And it is an experience, a core memory maker for a lot of children. And the Flames Foundation is unique because when you look at other charities, they do a lot of solicitation for donations, major gifts, all of those sorts of things. We have a 50-50 program, and ticket holders on a very regular basis contribute that, and that is huge. So that's where all of, Flames fans and people who support our charity. But then when you look at the other side, our events, it's all businesses that contribute. So Calgary businesses are, when it comes to golf and poker and our events, just, they drive those fundraisers. And those fundraisers we've grown so much in the last 10 years, but it turns into respite, relief, care, healthy programs for kids in Calgary. In Southern Alberta, the majority of our work is in Calgary. And we focus a lot on sport and what's providing structured or unstructured, spontaneous play or registered sports, what that provides for a child and how important access is to physical activity and sports for a young person, just when it comes to resiliency and, dealing with disappointment and rejection and teamwork. And, there's just so much happens. Let's just take hockey, for example. But, if you get pinched on the boards and you give up the puck and the other team comes and takes it away and it's your fault the team scores, that the other team scores, there's just so much happens in that moment for a child, right? Whether it's the embarrassment or, just dealing with the fact that that was your fault, that you have to rebound from that. There's just so much that happens in sport that transfers to life skills. And we talk a lot about how giving children access to those opportunities shapes the person that they become, which is a lot about what we do.
Okay, this is going to be an odd question, and you don't have to answer it. And folks, I'll find the answer if we don't have it here. But there's a lot of innovation and startup small businesses in Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
When I hear companies and corporations, I think boxes, I think big money.
Mm-hmm.
How affordable can a smaller company, a startup,
Mm-hmm.
be part of this foundation space, be part of the impact that you're doing?
Yeah. Thank you for asking, because now I get to sell it.
Okay. No, I
Sell it is the word.
but I always ask questions
For
or like
sure.
I'm thinking like myself. I'm not a multi-million-dollar company. I'm a family-owned company. I personally have had an experience because of the kids up front, seeing firsthand the impact these things make. At a minimal level, how can I be involved? As a company?
Yes. So the work of you can always donate. So CalgaryFlamesFoundation.com. Donating is the easiest way. But when you look at our events, when you actually want to be in the action, poker and golf, to participate in either of those events, the entry level donation is between $2,000 and $2,700, depending on the event.
Hey.
And that gets you there. That gets you there with the team. The team is at both of those events. Our fundraisers, we're very proud of how they're run, the amount that's raised and contributed back to the charity, because we do run so lean. We're very proud of what it costs and our ratios. So that's two ways. And then we talk about our 50-50 program all the time, and we don't do a lot of solicitation of funds to the general public because we have a raffle open every day.
Yeah.
And it really is every day. So, and two, the beautiful thing about raffles or 50-50s, which is very obvious, but 50% goes to a winner. And we get these amazing stories. We just gave away a trip to see Game 6, the Blue Jays, and the woman that won, she was putting her mom in hospice, and she was like, I just, this has taken up the last 6 months of my life. I'm so sad. This is just an opportunity. And I was like, well, isn't that amazing? Not only did the jackpot get to $300,000, but now we get to offer you this wonderful experience during a time that's very difficult. And, usually people are winning 50% of the jackpot, but those are ways that people can get involved and support. And, and they pretty cool access too.
So lots of different options of being engaged. I love that. And actually, I mean, a round of golf now, just to get a round of golf somewhere is you're looking at, $300, $400, $500 for the day anyway. You put a little more in there, it goes to charity, and you get to do it with Flames, right?
Definitely.
So, and I'm guessing there's probably some cool swag or something in that
Yeah.
also.
It's a
Yeah.
premium event. We make sure everybody gets a nice gift. All the food and drinks are included. It's like, we're big on food. There's just food.
Do you have to be
every
good at
stop.
golf,
No.
or is
Or
there
poker.
or
For
poker?
both
Okay.
of them,
I suck at both.
specifically the golf tournament, the teams are of 6. It's best ball. Like you.
Okay, so but I could maybe drive the cart and pretend that I hit a ball and
Yeah,
just
we
let
also have
everybody else.
volunteers
Oh, there you go.
that's their job. They caddy. We have 120 volunteers every year for golf, but no, you don't need to know how.
I think the volunteering may be a good spot because I suck at golf. Actually, I'm not a coordinator. I think I mentioned this early. No coordination. I was literally born with 2 left feet.
Well, it's okay. You have 5 other people on your golf team, so you'll be just
Scary.
fine. Yeah.
Best ball. There you
Best ball
go.
with 6 people is like, I'm like, is it golf? Are we still calling it
We're
golf?
still golfing.
No, you still have to aim for the hole on the green. So I guess it is, but skill level is certainly not a issue.
Let's talk ups and downs. 'Cause
Yeah.
Calgary has been Calgary's known as a boom and bust.
Mm-hmm.
And they always say the show still has to go on.
Mm-hmm.
So, how are you able to navigate that? Because in 2 decades you've seen this.
Yes.
How are you able to navigate and still keep things steady because you're doing so much good work?
Mm-hmm.
You can't slide back when the economy is sliding back, right?
Yeah.
How do you guys do that?
Yeah, our work is very sensitive to economic times. And when you look at just the highs and lows in Calgary, right? You see whether it's 50-50 tickets and trends there or the sponsorships. We've been through so many years where sponsorships for golf and poker and even, our auctions, they've been hard years.
Mhm.
And we try and be as nimble and flexible with people and companies as we can as far as offering options to participate. But it's tough. And, whether it was COVID, I've been through 2.5 lockouts, right? Where operations stop in the NHL. So our fundraising stops. Obviously, we make sure that we have, on the financial side, we have obviously plans and, safety nets and all of the things. But we just try and be as nimble with our partners as possible. So if you can't give this way, could you give this way?
Yeah.
Right? And that looks like a lot of in-kind sponsorship. That looks like, during tough times, we've decreased our sponsorship amounts, in recognition of what the business community and local community is going through or enduring. We'll be very mindful of that. So we have had years where we've decreased what you have to contribute to enter. And sometimes you just have to find a different way.
Yeah.
Right. So it's our poker tournament's hard to get into. It's, not inexpensive. And that year we hosted a radiothon.
Yeah.
So we just had to add something else that was for a different demographic and a different market. Not that they weren't as impacted, but when you look at the business community, there's obviously different levels of impact. So we would have changed what we were doing that year based on what was happening outside of the Saddle Dome that we're very aware of. So, and we've done that a couple times now for sure. And
Yeah, because I would assume that when the pressure happens here, the need rises here. So
also,
there's that's where, running a mighty team and
Mhm.
being nimble. And so do you find solutions on the other side also? Like, are you trying to create options on both sides just to bridge everything?
yeah. And yes. So yes. And we see this almost on the other side first. We see the increase in demand first. And, we work with Kids Sport and Hockey Calgary to provide financial assistance to families who can't register for sports, specifically hockey. And then the Flames Sports Bank provides equipment for like anything you could think of: skiing, tennis, badminton, and of course, hockey, soccer, football, all the things. And we see demand on those programs, demand in our grant application programs, demand everywhere. And whether it's charities asking us or our charitable partners like Kids Sport and Hockey Calgary and the Sports Bank, we feel that and we try, that's what we That's what we work so hard for, is to be there for Calgarians when they need us the most. And Calgarians fund this charity. So when we've gone through things like, you know, economic turmoil or COVID or, you know,
Floods. I remember there
or
was a lot of
floods.
work around the
Yes.
floods.
That's, that is why we are here, is to support Southern Albertans when they need us the most. So of all the things that we do, that is the most important, is to be here for Calgarians during those times. And that is what we raise funds for. I mean, our tagline is to help kids play and prosper. So we are very focused on, youth and families. However, the work's very broad.
In 2 decades, you've got to have a few stories that
Yeah.
just bring the goosebumps or tears or make you go, no matter what tomorrow serves, you made an impact. Would you mind sharing a story?
Yeah. Yeah. Working for the Calgary Flames on one side is very impactful. And then the Flames Foundation, just the volume of funds that we distribute and the programs that we create are so, me getting to see that work firsthand is I feel grateful for it. But, well, I mean, I would have a flame story and then I would have a foundation story. But, I think of one all the time. We work with so many children and lots of sick children. But the first one's actually about a man. But it was, this was a while ago now, 8 or so years. We get contacted a lot when things go wrong in people's lives. I have a sick child, I have a sick parent. Can they meet so and so? Especially when Jerome McGinley played for us, right? It was, can I meet him? I'm going through a hard time. Anyway, season ticket holder a long time. He had a terminal illness and had been a season ticket holder forever and had never seen the dressing room. He wanted to see the dressing room. So we went to his seats, went and met him, and he did not look well. So we had brought him down to the dressing room that night to meet with a bunch of the team. And our guys are so good. The players that have played for us in 20 years, they're generous and thoughtful and humble. And I can't remember who it was, but, he met with a couple guys, and then this guy went and got all of the other team players to come out because they could see he was in bad shape. So he met with a lot of the team, got a picture. And then about a week later, his wife had emailed me and said, he passed away, 2 days ago. I want you to know, he said that was one of the best nights of his life. And it just was so, I still think about it. I'm like, God, it didn't take us very much to do, but for him, it meant so much. And that's what pro sports are. They just mean so much to people.
Yeah.
And we build that into our community programs. And we work a lot with the Rotary Flames House and Kids Cancer Care. So we see a lot of families, I've been to a lot of funerals for children, just of the families that I work with. And we'll, especially building the Flames or the Rotary Flames House with Alberta Children's Hospital, you will talk to lots of families. The Rotary Flames House was built so that a child doesn't have to pass away in a hospital room.
Yeah.
And we build relationships with these families at the house on a very regular basis. But we had a little girl there. Her name was Thea. And we just developed this beautiful relationship with her. And one of our players went to see her at the house every week, Dougie Hamilton. And their family still talks about, Patrick and Leah, how impactful the house was and what that relationship meant to them when they were going through that with their family. And we see kids at the house or at our Hockey Fights Cancer games that unfortunately pass away, and their families come back and tell us what it meant to be able to have that relationship during that time. And it sucks. It's hard. Those are, I have 2 children, and it is impossible seeing families in those situations. But we also do work that means so much to them during that time. And it's very, very hard in the moment, but meaningful long term. So it's, we try very hard to help children, and that's where most of our funding goes. And whether it's children who are impacted by disabilities or illness, or children who are, children, marginalized youth, communities, equity deserving communities, food insecurity, limited access to recreational offerings. That's the work that we really try and focus on.
As a mother,
Favorite job?
I get it. It's like
Cheesy.
it's the one thing. It's the one thing that I have the most pride in my entire life. What is the one thing that you hope to impart to your children through your journey of what you're doing with the Flames Foundation and with CSEC and everything that you're doing? When your time comes, what do you hope your children learn from you?
That's a good question to think. My daughter said to me the other day, I think about this because it's funny. Mom, are you ever not going to work for the Flames? Because I'm thinking about cheering for the Oilers. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Well, all the kids are starting. I'm like, cat, this is not an option. We are not even talking about this. Like, I just get so angry at them. But her for that, I was like, but I think it's, you want your children to be humble and kind, but confident. And the work that we do, we're trying to build children who believe in themselves. And whether that's about, overcoming intergeneral complexities or keeping girls in sport or empowering mentorship or using our players to tell powerful stories. I would like my children to have the confidence in their skill set and to be who they are. And we talk about the role that sport plays. But at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to give children is, the skills to be confident enough in whatever work that they're doing. Um, and that is, when you look at skill building, when you think about whether you call it believing in yourself or confidence, you want them to be capable. And the first step is making sure they know they can. So, yeah, I think it's that.
It's one of many things. I think it's hard to ask you to narrow it all the way down
Yeah.
because I just feel I get the feeling there's so much you want to leave, so much you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they say when you need something done, give it to a busy person because it will get done.
Yeah.
I know that for myself, being part of the Cal Peak Club and coming here and learning and being part of this environment, this community, has been very much for myself personally a pivotal point. Um, what does community mean to you when we look at this? And I think that community is maybe a word that's thrown around a lot, and we don't actually stop to think, what does it actually mean? Can you share
Mm-hmm.
what it means to you?
Yeah, community building is so important. And you look at, whether it's the Petroleum Club or the Rotary Club, who we love, or a book club or a sports team or a knitting club. Like that's like, it's part of longevity and happiness and making sure that you have a community. And we want that community to be us or sports but it doesn't matter what it is. We want to make sure that people have found a community that fulfills them and empowers them. And, especially if you're new to Calgary, this is critically important. Because join the Petroleum Club and immediately you are part of a community, right? I go to a lot of Rotary meetings. Rotary is a huge, philanthropic partner of ours. I mean, what a beautiful community, right? It's just finding something, joining something, being a part of something that makes you feel that you're a part of something and um and gives you some purpose. And we talk about giving back to the community, which is at large, right?
Yeah.
Which is a different definition, but we are about building communities and specifically for young people that support them. And that's part of making people happier and healthier, and maybe the most important part. Yeah, it depends. I guess it's at the top of Maslow's hierarchy, but either way, because we're feeding and housing. But that's what I think it is really finding a place you feel like you can belong.
Candice, you are literally a rock star. Like you really are. You know what, folks? If what I've learned today is that it doesn't matter where you're sitting within your economics of your company or where you may have time or don't have time, but get out and join. Be part of what is building this city. Who's looking after some of our most vulnerable? Who's showing up with community pride and spirit. Again, there is no greater time than right now, to step up and step in if you are able to. Candice, thank you so much.
This was such a treat. Thank you both for having me. I just, yeah, thank you. This is such a wonderful place. This was an awesome podcast, and I'm going to listen on a very regular basis.
Awesome.
Thank you for joining us today on the Back to Business podcast. Be sure to visit calpeteclub.com, CALPETECLUB.com, to find out more about upcoming events, networking opportunities, and membership. If you are not already a valued member at the CPC, where we are proudly connecting and supporting Calgary's business leaders.